India's relationships with its neighboring countries are like a complex tapestry, woven with threads of history, culture, and politics. Each thread tells a story of shared struggles, of cultural ties, and yes, of conflict. Take Pakistan, for instance. The partition in 1947 didn't just divide land. It divided families, communities, and even dreams. The echoes of that division still resonate today, shaping our diplomatic landscape. Then there's Nepal and Bangladesh, countries with whom we share deep cultural connections, yet also face challenges like border disputes and political tensions. And let's not forget Sri Lanka, where our influence has been significant, but not without its own set of complications. Now, when we look at Russia, the dynamics shift dramatically. Russia's relationships with its neighbors are heavily influenced by its Soviet past. The legacy of the USSR looms large over its interactions, creating a sense of nostalgia and, at times, a desire to re-establish a sphere of influence. This is a nation that often prioritizes its geopolitical interests, sometimes at the expense of its neighbors' sovereignty. The aggressive policies we've seen in regions like Ukraine or Georgia serve as stark reminders of how power can overshadow diplomacy. So, what does this mean for India? Well, India has a unique position. We have strategic interests that are not just about power, but also about regional stability. Security concerns, trade routes, and economic cooperation are all part of the equation. However, balancing these interests with the need for friendly relations is no easy task. It's a tightrope walk, where one misstep could lead to tensions that spiral out of control. Historically, India has leaned on diplomacy and soft power to build its relationships. Think about it. Cultural exchanges, economic ties, and shared democratic values have been our tools. But let's be honest, recent years have seen some cracks. The tensions with Pakistan are well documented, and the situation with Nepal has also soured, particularly over border issues. It's a reminder that even the most well-intentioned policies can hit roadblocks. Now, if we look at Russia's approach, it's often marked by assertiveness, military maneuvers, economic pressure. These are tactics that have led to strained relations with several neighboring countries. It's a stark contrast to what we aspire to as a nation. We need to learn from these mistakes. Building trust and cooperation is paramount. India could benefit from focusing on confidence-building measures. Imagine increasing people-to-people ties, engaging in cultural exchanges, and participating in multilateral forums where smaller neighbors feel heard and respected. It's about creating an environment where dialogue flourishes, rather than one where fear prevails. Economic integration is another critical area. Strengthening ties through trade agreements and infrastructure projects can create a web of interdependence that reduces the likelihood of conflicts. When our neighbors see tangible benefits from our relationship, they're less likely to view us as a threat. Respecting sovereignty is crucial too. We need to ensure that our actions are perceived as supportive, rather than dominating or interfering. It's about walking alongside our neighbors, not ahead of them. And let's not overlook the impact of domestic issues on foreign policy. Sometimes, internal politics can cloud our judgment and negatively influence our international relationships. By keeping our domestic affairs in check, we can maintain a more stable and constructive foreign policy. In conclusion, India's relationships with its neighbors are multifaceted and require a delicate balance of power, diplomacy, and mutual respect. While we can learn from Russia's missteps, we must forge our own path, emphasizing cooperation and regional stability. After all, a peaceful neighborhood is not just a dream. It's a necessity for our growth and prosperity.